If you have only watched the anime for Hunter x Hunter, then you know very little things about Ging, but thankfully quite a few more details have been revealed about Gon's dad in the Hunter x Hunter manga. We do know that one of his ancestors, Dawn Freaks, or Doan Freaks I guess if you want to pronounce it like you pronounce Gon, was one of the only people to successfully make it to the Dark Continent and survive. And not only did he survive, dude is still there, still alive, and he's been alive for hundreds of years, and he is the only person to write a book on the Dark Continent, and it's not even finished. Ging was also in charge of creating Greed Island, a video game that is operated solely through Nen and is able to teleport people to an island hundreds of miles away, and then to just implement an entirely new power system, essentially, which is an incredible feat if you really think about it. But how rich is Ging? Stick around to the end of the video because this guy's net worth is truly insane. So how much wealth has he earned in his years as a hunter? Now, most of the information I'm going to be using to determine this is from chapter 344 of Hunter x Hunter, so you can go back and read that chapter and you'll get a basic idea of what's going on. In chapter 344, Ging goes to Beyond Netero's crew and he wants to become the new number 2, and he says in order to do that, he's willing to pay all of them twice as much as Beyond is paying them so that he can be called the number 2. He doesn't even want the authority of the position, he just wants the title, because he wants to piss off Pariston, who is the actual number 2. Now, Beyond's crew consists of 21 people, according to the Hunter x Hunter wiki, but I don't know if that number is 100% correct, but at the very least, it's 15. Now, no, we don't know exactly how much Beyond was paying them, and therefore we would just know how much Ging was willing to pay them, because we double it, but we can figure out a general estimate of how much Ging is going to be paying them based on one specific detail. Initially, all the members of Beyond's crew don't really believe Ging, because it's a lot of money. However, Ging says, just give me your account number and I will route the money to you right now. One of the guys does it, and then sure enough, money appears in his account. We don't see how much, but that guy immediately leaves and everyone's under the assumption, well, he just took the money and left. Honestly, not a bad idea. If the original plan was to go to the Dark Continent and you just got paid twice of what you were originally getting paid by someone who is not your employer, it makes sense to just abandon ship and cut your losses. However, the character does return and he reveals that he was at the hospital paying for his sister's medical bills. He says he could have lived 2 more lives, earned a hunter's license in each one, and then sold all 3 of them and still would not have had enough money to pay off the medical bills. Now, this is the important fact that's going to allow us to somewhat determine what Jing's net worth is. Now, this is all purely speculative. This number could be completely wrong. I could be way underselling it. I could be way overselling it, but just listen to my logic. Now, a hunter's license is worth several billion jenny. We do know this for a fact. However, several billion jenny isn't a specific number, so let's just say 3 to 5. See, this is already starting to get very speculative. But so, say a hunter's license is worth 3 to 5 billion, and if this guy says that he could have sold 3 of them and still not had enough, that means that the medical bills are anywhere from 9 to 15 billion jenny. Jenny is the currency in Hunter x Hunter. Now, something important, this character does not say that he just went up and paid for the medical bills. He said that he paid for the life insurance policy, that if he were to die, it would pay out enough to pay for the medical bills. So if the medical bills are worth 9 to 15 billion, then the life insurance would actually be much less. Now, a common risk factor for life insurance policies is anywhere from 2 to 5%, which means that he would pay 2 to 5% of whatever the medical bills total is, and then if he dies, the insurance company will pay what the total is. Now again, the 2 to 5% is based on my research, and who knows how different it is in Hunter x Hunter, although there are a lot of similarities between the world of Hunter x Hunter and our world, and that number could be completely wrong, but just these are the numbers we're going to be using. 2 to 5% of 9 to 15 billion is anywhere from 180 to 750 million. Now, it's also worth noting that all of Beyond's members were most likely paid very different amounts. Someone like Pariston was probably paid much more than this guy. Therefore, the numbers I'm about to give you could be significantly lower than what Ging actually paid everyone in total, but since we can't put an estimate on how much Pariston is worth compared to this guy compared to another guy, we're just going to all give them the same amount of what this guy was paid. So we're going to assume that Ging gave the same amount to everyone, which would be 21 times 180 to 750 million, which would be anywhere from 3.78 billion to 15.75 billion. So that's how much Ging is losing in this entire transaction, and we can comfortably assume he has significantly more than that in his bank account, because it wouldn't make sense if he was willing to bet all of his money on this one journey just to pay these guys off. And it's not even that he's paying them off, he's literally just paying them for a title. It's incredibly insignificant overall. Even though Ging might think it's very valuable in the moment, he has to understand that in the long run, this isn't a great financial move. But if we want to be incredibly conservative, let's just say that Ging has twice that amount in his bank account, which would mean he's worth 7.56 billion to 31.5 billion. Now remember, a jenny is based on a yen, the Japanese currency, which is worth significantly less than a US dollar. But I'm going to get into the specifics of that at the end of the video when I get the actual number that I am more comfortable with saying is his true net worth, because I do not think that Ging just has twice what he was willing to pay Beyond's crew. And I have 2 reasons for that. One, Ging loves adventures. He is constantly going on adventures. That's all he does, more or less. And adventures are expensive, like the Dark Continent one. But the Dark Continent one is his biggest one. It's definitely his most dangerous and the most risky. He has to put in the most money for it to get the most reward. Now you might be thinking, well, the Dark Continent is incredibly dangerous, and maybe he's just going all or nothing. He's putting all of his money into this so that he can potentially survive and then make back tons of money from the Dark Continent, or he could just put it all in and then die, and then he doesn't have to worry about his money. But I don't think this is true, because Ging knows that he won't die on the Dark Continent. Ging knows he's going to make it to the Dark Continent and return, because A, he's incredibly cocky and just overall very confident, and he is just very competent. He can generally back up his cockiness. But I think the better reason why he knows he'll survive is because of his ancestor Dawn Freaks, or Dawn Freaks. Pretty much it's in Jing's blood to survive the Dark Continent, and Ging is already incredibly talented at just about everything, so I think there's a really good chance he's going to survive, and he knows that fact. Which means he'd want to have much more of his net worth left over than after what he's putting into this Dark Continent trip. All of this to say, I think it is a fair and even conservative estimate to say that Ging has potentially 20 times what he was willing to pay Beyond's crew, which would mean his overall net worth could be anywhere from 75.6 billion to 315 billion Jenny. Now for the final step, let's convert that into USD. Now, like I said, a Jenny is based on a yen, which is significantly less than a USD. And after a quick Google search, so this could potentially be wrong, I found out that 120 Jenny is equal to $1 US. So we divide the number we just had, the 75.6 or 315 billion, divided by 120, which would mean that Jing's net worth is anywhere from 630 million to 2.6 billion. Again, this is based on the estimate that Ging has only 20 times what he's willing to pay Beyond's crew, and the estimate that Beyond's crew was all being paid the same no matter who the member was, which I think is just factually wrong. I think Periston and other members got paid significantly more than what this one guy, who was probably one of the lowest members of the group, got paid. So this is Future Granite talking here. I did realize while editing the video that I did kind of completely forget to mention the Greed Island sales. Now, there are only 100 copies of Greed Island made, and Ging did sell them pretty successfully. There was a ton of pre-orders, and he was able to sell them all instantly for a very high price. However, we never actually learned a specific dollar amount that each one was sold. We do know like the highest amount that was ever paid for one, but that wasn't paid to Ging, that was just paid to someone else who already had it. So given this information, we can't really do anything with these numbers because we just don't really have any. So that was the original reason why I didn't think to mention it, but I figured it was worth putting in the video overall, just so that I can at least have put some thought into it. So Jing's net worth is even higher than the number I had, but we don't know by how much because the numbers from Greed Island just are indiscernible. So I think that number could be who knows how high, but I think that is the lowest it absolutely could be. And since the range is 630 million all the way to 2.3 billion, I think we can comfortably say he is a billionaire. And to get $1 billion from just being an adventurer and just a fighter, or just really just like a normal person, Ging just kind of does whatever he wants. The fact that he's made over $1 billion is incredible. And all of that just goes to show you that Ging is truly that guy. He is so rich, he's so good at everything, he's so mysterious, he's a bad dad, he is a terrible father, but he's got a bunch of money. Now, if I made any critical errors, like I left out any facts that could allude to a greater sign of wealth or something that like specifically mentions his wealth in the manga, please let me know down below in the comments, because if I made an error, I would absolutely love to be corrected, because this is a genuine question I had. It was like, okay, if Ging is willing to pay this much to these people, how much is he actually worth? So if I could get a real answer at the cost of being wrong, I would love that. So if you know anything about this that I didn't mention, please let me know in the comments. But if you enjoyed the video and if you learned something about how rich Ging freaking is, make sure you hit the like button and subscribe, because it helps me out a lot and I would really appreciate it. Other than that, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. The fact that you watched all the way till the end of the video means a lot for me, and it helps my videos out a ton. And I love making these videos. I just absolutely love putting the time in to record, then to edit, then to post it, and just to have you guys watch it. So thank you so much for watching. You are the reason I do this. I hope you have a wonderful day. You are an amazing person, and I hope you understand that, and I'll see you in the next one.